The first thing I want to establish is I want to address those who set up goals for this year, things you wanted to do in your devotion, how you wanted to be consistent, and you found yourself not meeting up to it. I need you to know that you can do well. Your yearly goal is a result of your monthly goals, and your monthly goals are a result of your weekly goals, and your weekly goals are a result of your daily goals. Everything that you set before you has to be intentional. The problem is many of us set yearly goals and then we don't incorporate it into how we intend to execute them month by month. And so this video is going to be very, very intentional. I need you to have your journals out. If you use physical journals like I do, or use electronic journals like I also do, you can use either one of them, but I use both electronic and like actual writing out for devotional things and things that have to do with my love for God. Just generally, I'm a journal babe. Like, look at all my journals. They're for different areas of my life. I literally carry journals with me everywhere that I go, and it's a lot of work, but that's how I'm able to process. So this is what my Notion looks like for like monthly goals. I usually have this in like different sections for different months. That's a whole thing on itself, but this is what it's supposed to look like. Now, as you can see, I have different parts of my life listed out for things I want to see for the month. And so we're just going to be opening this toggle, this devotion toggle, and we're going to be filling that out. Now, I'm not going to show you the parts for the other parts of your life because honestly this is just a video about devotion, but based on the goals that you have set for devotion, set for family, set for education, set for everything else, every other part of your life, you create an encompassive schedule. That way you know that you set your schedule for the month, and as long as you show up to do the things that you have set to do, you are fulfilling the different parts of your goal. Now is the time for you to go over some of the things that you did well and some of the things you didn't do as well last month. There are 4 major spaces where I want you to measure spiritual growth. The first is prayer, the second is Bible study, the third is communion/relationships, and the fourth is discipleship, evangelism, and ministry altogether. Yes, you're supposed to be doing ministry. I want you to say, okay, what have I done over the past month in each one of these areas? What did I do in all of these areas? Go into the systems you set up, if you set up a system, and if you didn't, that's one thing you didn't do as well. And as you do that, I want you to ruminate over the things that worked for you and the things that didn't work for you. You want to do this based on the different parts of your life. Where are you in your life? Are you a student? Do you work? What city do you live in? All of these factors influence different areas of your life and will definitely influence your devotion. If you have 0 in any of the areas, your goal is to move from 0 to a significant number, a number that's significant to you. I'm saying this because you need to know that you can actually grow in devotion. You can literally set different points that mark how you stretch in your devotion. So when it comes to prayer, ask yourself, how long can you pray for? How long can you pray for on your own? And if you don't know how long you pray for, typically time yourself, set a timer and pray. When you begin to tire out, note that time and say, okay, that is my starting point. Can you pray on your own for 10 minutes? Can you pray on your own for 15 minutes? Can you pray on your own for 30 minutes? Throughout this July, your goal is to go past that. Now, if you usually pray for about 15 minutes, your goal can be 1 hour in July. Remember, you will have to also create weekly goals that lead into that monthly goal. One of the things I will always emphasize is the idea of progressive overload. Progressive overload is the idea of small increments that add up to something huge when you look back at it. You don't go from 15 minutes to 1 hour just like that. You build up slowly. Move from 15 to 30, and you can decide, okay, in the first week of July, I'm going to try to pray for 20 minutes consistently and see how that goes. Like unfailingly, literally, we underestimate how much little progress actually counts. So even if you know that you pray for 15 minutes consistently, you can shoot for 20 minutes and say, okay, I want to be able to pray on my own for 20 minutes, like comfortably. And that means that your prayer time will literally be 20 minutes in the morning, like stretch 20 minutes, and you can just stretch 20 minutes in the evening. Okay, after Bible study, prayer for 20 minutes. This is about order, and this is about building yourself up. You create milestones that you can track and say, okay, I pray for this long, I want to pray for longer. If you want to go in Bible study, again, you can do it with people. You can watch videos on how to study the Bible, and you can decide, you know what, I can only study the Bible, like proper study, for max 10 minutes. See, I'm going to do a video on how to study the Bible that will completely change how you study the Bible. So if you're struggling with, once I get to 10 minutes, I genuinely don't know what else to do, I don't know where else to go, that video is for you. Because Bible study is so exciting that you literally have to be the one that will say, okay, don't spend so much time doing it. 10 minutes is actually not enough. You just have to know how to study the Bible in a way that engages you and edifies you. So set milestones, set goals that are feasible for you. Please, if you're a student, don't say my goal is to pray for 7 hours. When will you read? How you go past? Like, be realistic. Plan it out and see what it looks like. So decide based on the kind of life that you live. Not you being, a superhero that really loves God. No. What time is realistic that you can keep to every day? If you have to leave the house by 6 a.m. and you get home by 10 p.m., what I want you to create is an encompassive schedule that says, okay, I leave the house by 6 a.m. I sleep by 11. This means that if I want to get like 5 to 6 hours of sleep, I need to wake up latest by 5. How long does it take for me to get ready? About 30 minutes. So by 5:30, I need to be done with devotion. Good. That means 15 minutes prayer, 15 minutes Bible study. And then later, when I'm driving to work, I can join an online devotion center like Triumph 30. Guys, Triumph 30 is an amazing platform. They meet every weekday, focus on God, His Word, and prayer. So back to your pseudo schedule. I'm off work by 6, but because of traffic, I get home by 10. I have 4 hours of transit. What can I use that time to do? You can say, you know what, I'm going to call one of my friends and we'll just pray under our breath while I'm driving home. That way I've edified myself. I'm going to read up on something. I'm going to listen to a sermon. So you're setting all of these goals and you're letting them trickle into how you plan your days. What times do you want to devote to your spiritual growth? Now, another part of devotion that I think I want to emphasize when it comes to Bible study is people using Bible plans or study the Bible in a year. Honestly, once you start studying the Bible in the year in July, I wish you the best, but I do not think it's realistic. Only because you are 6 months late. But if you feel like it's something that you can adapt into your systems properly, then go for it. Another way that I think that some people study the Bible, another way some people study the Bible is by using devotionals. So they read devotionals that explore on a topic or a Bible verse. And if you can be consistent with that, there's nothing wrong with it. Just plan it out. And let it be a thing where you're not just reading through. Oftentimes, devotionals will be one for a day. So you can decide, okay, in the morning I'm going to read it. Devotionals usually read for about 5 to 15 minutes max. So you're saying I'm going to read through it, but then throughout the day you can decide I want to study on this or I want to think on it. Many of us use devotionals as a center thing, but I believe that devotionals are supposed to be aids in our relationship with God. They're not the center thing themselves. So if you're reading something really quickly, it's supposed to inform your relationship and your other pursuit of God during your day. So your devotional cannot be all that you are doing. I genuinely believe that. And I don't just mean that in the sense of you have to do more, you have to do ITK. You do have to learn to study the Bible. But I mean it in the sense of even after you have read through your devotional, throughout your day, let your mind think on that. When you come back, think about it too. What does it mean? What's the impact of this? Don't just read for reading's sake. And so you can decide that because my schedule is too full, I'm using my devotionals to collect materials that I will dwell on during the weekend. So you can decide, okay, 15 minutes during the weekdays and then a full 1 hour on Saturday because then I have more time. Just create systems that are holistic and actually help you. Now, to achieve praying for longer, and we're going into how to achieve a goal. So let's say the goal you set is I want to pray for longer, or let's say the goal you have is I want to study the Bible for longer, or I want to evangelize more. Listen, when I tell you systems will literally change your life, the easiest way to grow in any one of these 4 things we have mentioned is to do it with somebody. If you usually pray for 15 minutes and you want to stretch to 30 minutes, find somebody that when you get to 15 and you're tired, they are still going. Or tell your friend who probably also prays for 15 minutes, guy, we have to move to 30 minutes. And this is what I call communion. It's not just going to church, it's not just breaking bread, it's literally communion, seeking community in people, finding your people in Christ. You want to do it with somebody. The other side is setting systems with people. So have prayer times with them, have Bible study times with them, and have evangelism times with your friends. Set systems. I focus mostly on prayer and Bible study because those two are centrally emphasized, but there's another area that is just as important, and it is community. We're not saying, oh, I go to church on Sunday, oh, I go to church on Wednesday. What are your plans for community? I'm saying when you are off church, who are you spending time on the phone with? Are they people that can say the Lord said? Are they people that can say you're stressed, let's just pray really quickly? These are the things that will help you to grow. What are your plans for your friends? Who do you call when you are bored? Who do you talk to? Are your closest friends going where you're going? Do your closest friends share the same desires that you do? You need to have groups where every so day, so time, we are praying together. After that, we talk about what God is doing in our lives. Then I can call you during the week and say, babe, what's up? How was your day? Oh, let's gist. You need to have friends like that you gist, but you catch fire together. And you need to put them in your schedule unfailingly. Every Saturday by 5, I pray with these girls. Every Sunday by this time, I pray with these girls. Involve people in your walk with God. You're not supposed to do it alone. So community, the communion of saints, please, you need to put this. What times are you praying? Do you understand? And the last part is you growing in what I've called discipleship, evangelism, and ministry generally. As somebody who has been poured into, who are you pouring into? I'm not asking you to start a church. I'm not asking you to start a Bible study group. I'm asking you to tell somebody about God. Share this beautiful thing you have. You can grow in that too. I know that for some people it might be a new terrain and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm scared. So start small. You go to work and nobody knows you're a Christian, and I'm in no way judging you. I'm telling you that this is an area for growth. Talk about spiritual growth. A huge part of it is also how brightly you shine for God in the spaces that you are. Maybe it's not just even work. Maybe it's even in your friend group. All of you used to do all these things together, and now you're getting more serious in your relationship. Talk to somebody about Jesus. Sometimes call people and check in on them and listen to them and say, okay, I will pray for you. That too is ministry. Do you understand? Letting people know that when they meet you, they have access to God and His truth. Does that make sense? You can make out time in your devotion to say, you know what, on every Friday, whenever I pray, I'm not praying to be stirred up. I am just praying for people. I'm praying for souls. I'm praying for anything God brings on my heart. And then there's also the other part of also tracking evangelism. How often do you evangelize? There's long-term evangelism and there's short-term evangelism. How often do you do either? If you've never evangelized before, you can start off with in July and saying, okay, you know what, this month I'll evangelize to one person, and it'll be one person at work. I'll stalk them and just give them the gospel and just be like, this is the gospel. Listen, I want to even do a video on how to talk about your faith and how to evangelize so badly. God help me. But yeah, you can decide to track and create milestones in how you evangelize as well. And I think this is a very, very important thing because the gospel is true and Jesus is coming back. Again, not judgment, just accountability. And that leads me to the next part, which goes back to community. It is accountability. These goals that you have listed out, share them. Share them with a friend. Do this at the beginning of every month. Tell your friends what you want to do for the month. Not the friends that will say, congratulations. The ones that will drag you if you don't do it. The ones that will drag you. Tell them. Tell your friends so you're accountable to them. Tell your mentors. Does that make sense? Another thing we must abolish in July is doing devotion to tick it off our to-do list. No. We must do this because we love God and because we want to be excellent at loving Him. Do you understand? That is our priority. That is our goal. We're not doing this to fulfill our righteousness. We're doing this because we want to be serious about loving God and want to be serious about being a flame for Him. So we're abolishing, I prayed, I read my devotion. Be for real. Be so for real. So set milestones, set goals that are feasible for you based on what worked for you last month and your schedule in this month. And finally, talk to God about it. Ask God for help. Jesus, this month, I don't want to be sleeping when it's time to pray. Your goal could even be to attend 9 vigil. That's a viable goal, right? And so, once you have set your goals, pray to God that God gives you the strength to accomplish them. And that's very important. And that's that. Welcome to July. If you're new here, I'm Fien. Welcome to the channel. I'm going to be doing more videos like this. So if you have any other topics like I've mentioned, put it in the comment. I can't believe we're so YouTube-y, guys. Put it in the comments. I hope that we'll look back at this month and just say, I grew this month. Yeah, that's that. Subscribe.